You're in the Business Insurance Zone with me, Steve Savant, syndicated financial columnist and contributing author to Backroom Technician. This week on The Biz, our online legal documentation series. And on today's show, why do you need an estate plan? With special guests Frank Divers and Dean Martin from Estate Docs Pro.
When it comes to life insurance, annuities, long-term care, disability, or group pension plans, we're the news you can use.
Well, welcome everyone to the Business Insurance Zone. Of course, I'm your host, Steve Savant, and we're broadcasting to a nationwide audience of financial advisors right here in Fountain Hills, Arizona, home of America's largest fountain. And with me today, day 5, all this week, Frank Divers and Dean Martin. Hey, Dean. Hey, Frank. Welcome to the
Steve,
show.
good to see you.
You guys surviving?
Yes. Oh, yeah. A lot of
Great.
fun.
Listen, if you say, Steve, I want to try this, just go out to this site. You see it at the lower third, estatedocs.com/thebiz, and go out and try it for 30 days. I think you'll be impressed. And more than that, I think you can open up tremendous amount of client scheduling appointments on this. I mean, you're a producer, you do this all the time, using this to leverage it.
Oh, absolutely, because a lot of folks, they know they need to do something, they don't know what. Or I've always meant to do this, and you're empowering your client to take control of their assets, take control of their life, and not only do you help them kind of tick off a box, something they know they need to get done, but in that process, you learn a lot about your client. I get calls every day from producers who says, I've been helping this little old lady for decades. I didn't know she had this, and this. I can sell her this product and that product. He was so ecstatic because this little old lady was doing it almost as a favor.
Yeah, this can really open up some significant opportunities by just walking through, which most people are not attending to.
Exactly, Steve. There are very few guarantees in life, but in this case, we can just about make 3 guarantees. One is that if you don't do it, you run the risk of your competition doing it, because this is the future of estate planning, and estate planning is a very integral part of taking an holistic view of someone's financial affairs. So that's a guarantee. Number 2 is that we guarantee that you as the producer will sense your relationship growing deeper with your client, because it's such a personal service that you're providing them, and you're helping them, you're guiding them and directing them to make some decisions that they get a peace of mind that money can't buy. And then thirdly, your income goes up, which is not a bad thing either.
Not a bad thing. Listen, yesterday we were talking about spendthrift accounts in regards to children who maybe aren't ready to take constructive receipt of mom and dad's assets during transfer. I want to talk a little bit about children that are, minor children. This is a whole nother scene, because probably next to healthcare directives for your person, you want your minor children to be taken care of. I mean, just the thought of having to have a custodial person involved, right?
One of the best things you can do is plan for the future and save and all your inheritance. But one of the worst things you can do is give it to them all at once. I mean, imagine a 16-year-old kid with 6 or 7 figures in their bank account. Wow. It's not going to last, and it may do a lot more damage than it does good. And so what we developed was a joint trust for minor children that you can establish yourself, and instead of getting all the cash, you can say, I want to give it to them at this age or over these ages.
Increments, so forth. Right.
And then you can make exceptions. You can say, well, okay, they won't get it until they get to these points, these years old, but they can take some money out for maybe for school, or only if they keep up a certain GPA, or
maybe down payment on a home.
On a home, or start a business.
So you can really direct this.
Taylor.
Well,
power and control, that's what it's all about.
Well, I love, that's something Frank said at the beginning of the week. We're giving back the client power and control, and you're being the quarterback of their fiduciary issues.
Absolutely.
To me, I love that idea. Let's go, and I want to watch this little clip on helping out minor children from attorney Mark Kohler.
All right, let's talk about these joint trusts for minor children. So for those of you that have children, this is a really important video and kind of a nice aspect to a well-drafted trust. Now, I don't know where it was, 10 years ago, I heard about these joint trust strategies, and I've really fine-tuned them and provided provisions in this trust document for you if you want to use this. So here's how this basically works. You may have your basic revocable living trust, right? And it's going to own your businesses, and it's going to own your home, and life insurance is going to pour into it, and any investments, and everything's going to go into your trust. But if you have minor children that are 2, 4, and 6 years old, something happened to you, do we really want to have 3 different trusts and 3 different bank accounts for a 2-year-old and 4-year-old? Headache, boom, cost, extra tax returns and checkbooks. It's kind of a pain. So what I'd like to do instead of that is create one joint trust while the kids are minors. And so the joint trust allows you to have one trustee, one bank account, kind of manage everything. Money for the guardian, money for school and food and supplies and, medical and whatever. But while the kids are younger, let's make it easy. But as soon as one of those kids turn 18, then boom, it splits off into different trusts. So let's say you have 3 children. It would create 3 buckets for the 3 different children. And so that's really cool because now each kid has a different bucket and the rules for them are going to be uniform, but the kids may use it in a different way. So for example, like I talked about in the prior trust video, you may have rules that they get money in stages, 25, 30, 35. They may get money for college, start a business, get married, church service, travel the world, whatever it is. But each kid's going to be a little different, right? So we don't want to have the joint trust distributing money for the kids that it gets crazy once they turn 18. But what's cool with the separate trust is one kid might go on to Harvard and start draining his trust faster, where one of the other kids, this daughter is going to start a small business. And so her distributions are going to vary from this child's. And so each child has their own bucket, and if they drain it quicker than the other, according to the rules, so be it. And then each time they turn a certain age, they get specific distributions. So it's really nice because you can really tailor your trust to the children in different stages of their life with this joint trust while they're minors and keeping costs down and keeping it efficient. So check it out. I think you might like it.
Well, joint trust for minor children. I mean, Dean, that was an excellent explanation.
Oh, this is the type of thing that you normally have to pay a lot of money to an attorney to get, and he's got it for you right online.
Frankie did it out pretty easy.
He made it very easy, and that relationship between our attorney partners and the client is all digitized and available to the producer.
Yeah, it's attorney partnership. You're
Right.
dealing with attorneys.
That's right.
Yep, I love it. Well, when we come back from the break, we're going to continue talking about all these things in estate planning that we're talking about, and especially this next one, why do you need an estate plan? And remember, you can visit our IULUniversity.com for the best training and education when it comes to life insurance for retirement income.
You're listening to the insurance industry's #1 resource for products, planning ideas, carrier information, and interviews you can use. When it comes to life insurance, annuities, long-term care, disability, or group pension plans, we're the news you can use.
Did you know the average 401k runs out of money just 7 to 8 years into retirement? Time Magazine, the Wall Street Journal, and many other publications have warned of the difficulty of saving with a 401k. But what if there was a way to create tax-free lifetime retirement income with no stock market risk? Good news, there is.
Living in fear of the next market dive is not the way I want to live my life.
Why would I go out there and take on risk when I don't need to?
I have a lot less stress knowing I can't lose any more of my retirement savings in the stock market.
Call now to receive your free, no-obligation analysis of what this retirement vehicle could do for you, a comparison to your current retirement plan, and a free video that explains this exciting opportunity. Start planning a retirement you can enjoy instead of worrying about future tax increases and stock market losses. Creating income that will last your entire life is the most important thing you'll ever do. Take control of your future. Call now for your free analysis, comparison, and video.
Well, welcome back to the Business Insurance Zone. I'm Steve Savant with Frank Divers and Dean Martin. And remember, you can order today's materials at thebiz.tv. And while you're out there, click on the backroom technician icon right on our Biz blog for the 30-day free trial offer for the best needs analysis and educational material that address almost every financial planning need. And just a heads up, before moving forward, anything you hear on our show today, always consult your tax advisor and your legal counsel, and of course, your broker-dealer compliance officer if you're so FINRA licensed. We're talking about why do you need an estate plan? I mean, that's about as basic as it gets. And we're going to go to this clip. And this attorney, this is another attorney.
Another one of our attorney
Adam
partners.
Studnicki, right?
Yes, that's correct.
And he's a JD's attorney out there. And this is a nice explanation that I think you'll enjoy.
My name is Adam Studnicki, and I'm the General Counsel and Chief Compliance Officer. In this video, we're going to talk about why you should do estate planning and why you should do it now. The fact is that most people should have an estate plan for what happens to their assets after they die. According to Smart Money magazine, if you have some assets, maybe just a car and some nice furniture, or minor children, you still need an estate plan, even if taxes are not an issue. But 56% of Americans do not have any estate planning documents in place, and only 23% of American adults over age 50 have a trust. So why is that? Why do so few people engage in active estate planning? Well, some people think they just don't have enough assets. They think it's something only for the rich. Other people think it costs too much. You have to go to an attorney and spend thousands of dollars to get an estate plan in place. And, for some people, naturally, it's an uncomfortable topic. No one wants to think about their mortality. And some people think it's just too complicated. They don't understand the process and what it takes to get the job done. But let me tell you a little secret. Everybody already has an estate plan. It's either your plan or the government's plan for you. So let me ask you two questions. Who do you want to make the decisions over your assets while you're alive and after you die? Over your health care, over your family's future? You or the government? And the other question is, how much of your estate do you want to be paid to courts and lawyers after you die, as opposed to having that money go to your family, your beneficiaries, your favorite charity, wherever you'd like it to go? So what happens if you don't have estate planning documents, or if you have a will? Well, your estate is going to go through a process called probate. Probate is a court action that determines what happens to your assets after you die. So the courts decide who receives your assets. Now, if you have a will, they're going to follow your will, but you still have to go through the probate process, which is a public proceeding. All your private asset information, your private financial information become public record. Depending on what state you live in, the process can take 3 months, 4 months, 6 or more months, could take a year or more. Most states have minimum periods of time where creditors need to receive notice and have the opportunity to respond. So your family has to wait months before receiving the assets. If you have assets in more than one state, let's say you have a house in one state and a timeshare you bought in another state, well, you're going to have to start 2 probate actions. You need a probate action in every state in which assets are located. And probate's expensive. It can cost thousands of dollars in costs and fees. The costs of probate can include the filing fees, depending on what state you're in. Like in California, it's $395. In Florida, it's $400. You may need to give legal notices for creditors and other parties. You may have to post a bond. All of that costs money. There may be fees to a personal representative, attorney's fees. That's usually a very large chunk of probate costs. And you may need to get appraisals done for your assets. So the total cost of probate, the ballpark range, depending on what state you live in, the size of your estate, could be 1 to 8% of your estate. So if you have a $300,000 estate, and by estate I mean the overall value of everything you own, the total cost of probate may be in the range of $3,000 to $24,000. Could be less than that, could be even more than that. That's the general range. In California, which has particularly high costs for probate, a $100,000 estate can easily cost $8,000 or more in fees. Plus, there's a cost of time, the time that your family has to wait, and there's a loss of privacy. And then there's the government making the decisions for you instead of you making those decisions. So what's the solution? Solution is the Estate Plan Portfolio. It's a revolutionary website for online estate planning. The documents have been developed over a 20-year period working with estate planning professionals across the entire country. Easy-to-use online platform that walks you through the entire process of creating your documents. The entire process is very fast. You can create your documents in about 1 hour, and you can do that at your computer. It's completely online. You can do that in the privacy of your own home. It's very flexible. You can change your documents later if your decisions change or if your circumstances change. It's very affordable. Remember what we talked about, the thousands or tens of thousands of dollars that it can cost to go through a probate process. The documents are comprehensive. It's a full estate planning package. The documents include a revocable living trust, a last will, a testament, a pour-over will that complements the trust, a durable powers of attorney so that you can decide who makes decisions, financial decisions, healthcare decisions in case you're not able to. Advanced medical directives so that you can give instructions on, whether you would like to be put on life-sustaining support, for example, if you're terminally ill, plus many, many more documents. In addition, for secure online storage, the whole process is electronic. And your documents are stored electronically, so you can access them later. You can download them, print them out, email them to someone, email them to an attorney if you want them to take a look at them. So why a living trust? What exactly is that? A living trust is a document that basically creates a new entity. The trust is a separate entity. You fund your assets into the trust, and you own and control the assets of the trust while you are alive. You are the trustee and the beneficiary of the trust. You can move assets in and out of the trust. Basically, you continue to do what you've always done as far as buying assets, selling assets, living your life as you've normally done. You pay your taxes as you normally do. The trust does not have to file a separate return when you're alive. And in the trust document, you specify what happens to your assets after you die. You take and retain control over that process. And then the living trust is revocable, so you can revoke it, you can change it while you're alive. If you have, let's say you decide to have another child and you want to add them as a beneficiary, well, the trust is revocable and changeable. You can do that. Or if a beneficiary dies, you can remove them as a beneficiary from your trust. So one of the huge area of benefits is avoiding probate, which a will does not do. Avoiding probate, you save money. Again, it could be thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. You save the time of probate, which could be months, minimum of months, it could be years. The hassles of probate are saved. All the paperwork that your family has to go through, or they have to hire an attorney to go through. And then the living trust is a private document. So you maintain privacy over your financial picture and your family's financial picture. Your money goes to your family without taking a big chunk out of it to the courts and the attorneys, as is what happens with probate. And another big factor is you get to decide. You get to decide through the process, not a court, who receives your hard-earned assets. Where do you want them to go? When do you want your beneficiaries to receive them? At what age? Do you want your kids to receive their distribution at age 21 or 25, or how they receive them? Maybe you want them to receive it in a lump sum, or maybe over time, maybe part at age 21, part at age 25, and the rest at age 30. You also get to decide who makes the decisions if you are incapacitated, who decides financial matters, who decides healthcare matters for you. If you're ill, would you want to be placed on life support systems if you're terminally ill? You get to control the decisions that affect you, your health, your assets, and your family. Who manages the assets for minor children if you die while they're still minors? And who raises your children if you die? Let's say you have a spouse, let's say you both die. And no one likes to think about these things. It's not pleasant to think about, but it happens. It happens to people, and either you control and make those decisions, or a court or attorneys make them on your behalf and on your family's behalf. And really, it's an ultimate gift. It's peace of mind for you, and it eases burdens for your family. It's hard enough when a relative dies. Your family's going to need time and space to grieve, and the fewer decisions for them to make, the better. And if you give them instructions on what they should do, that gives them peace of mind that they know you're following your last wishes, which is something they obviously would want to do. So do it now while you're healthy and capable. When someone's in a hospital and they're told they only have a few years or a few months to live and they have to make important decisions, that's a really stressful time to be making decisions. Don't do that to yourself or to your family. Don't wait for tragedy before acting. Do it now. Take control over your assets and make sure that you create your estate plan and not have the default of the government deciding what happens to the assets that you've worked your whole life on. What happens to those assets? Make sure that you decide and not the government. So take action now. Don't delay. And if you have any questions or need additional information, contact the person who referred you to this video. Thank you.
Frank, Adam did a great job on there. That's a nice piece.
That's what you call a wrap.
That is a wrap. And think about it, Dean, that is not that complicated.
No.
When you think the way he lays it out, I mean, I'm thinking of a consumer watching this clip, and remember, part of our audience is that was pretty easy.
Well, and that's what we've done. We've taken the complexities of estate planning and made it easy so anyone can do it, because everyone needs to.
I'm there on that. And remember, you can watch all the shows on www.thebiz.tv on all our archives for this week, and write me at steve@thebiz.tv. That's the Buzz on the Biz for today. You've been in the zone, the Business Insurance Zone.
You're listening to the insurance industry's #1 resource for products, planning ideas, carrier information, and interviews you can use. When it comes to life insurance, annuities, long-term care, disability, or group pension plans, we're the news you can use.